All right, what's up, everybody? Keith Jameson, good back guys 31 across DFS Century. Hope you all did well. Yesterday was a fun day. It was weird, right? Like Liverpool, beats up Benfica pretty good. Like Liverpool probably got like 5-6 goals, but you still had some good Benfica performances. Like Everton, who was putting forward, ended up great. Grimaldo didn't do all that well. Okay, it was just Everton, but Vlad de Campos wasn't bad considering he conceded 3 goals, but just a weird slate. And I know a lot of our guys did well. Hope you did well as too. Let's just get into this one. So 2-game slate. Bayern is going to be like the big decision point. We'll get into that in a minute. Just a quick reminder: like, subscribe, comment. Let's jump right into it. So speaking of Bayern, that's where we're going to start. So Kimmich. So I guess one thing to say is, and you look at the pricing, a lot is pretty soft. I felt like yesterday, you had to look for punts. Today it's not as much because some of the punts, especially for Real Madrid, are just fine players that are significantly underpriced. So I think there's a lot less punting and more of just like decisions. So I think first key decision in the slate is pro Lewandowski or are you going to go somewhere else? I think it's just almost too easy to get Lewandowski. It goes back to like my golden rule of goal scorers. Like if there's a goal notification and you're like, if there's a goal notification and Lewandowski isn't the goal or at least on the assist, like you're kind of shocked. And where he's priced at and how easy it is to get to him, and the fact that I think Bayern has goals in them versus Villarreal, I think you just kind of play him. And then the big decision point is, are you going to go a second? The next big decision point is, are you going a second forward? I think Coman, from a forward perspective, has been awesome. Moore always gets there in big games. Sane, occasional corner, but also just a really good score, really good shot that you are taking a forward from this game versus Chelsea versus Madrid. That could be a bit of a slog, or Villarreal, I think is like the intriguing, like contrarian team, because we know Bayern's always going to concede some offense. Like they're going to concede chances now. Does Danjuma or Moreno? Those are my 2 favorites. Do they convert? That's a completely different story. But I would not be surprised at all if Bayern does not stay clean. So I'm kind of leaning away from Manuel Neuer in this spot. So that's your forwards. I think Kimmich is a lock. I was like shocked how cheap he was. I was expecting him like 7,800 and he was a lock. And I think he's like 6,500 or something way too low. Okay. So Kimmich just becomes a lock and load. I'm just pulling up my lineup so I can kind of speak through it. Yeah, 6,400. Jesus. The fullbacks are no good here for Hernandez. Pavard don't really get forward much at all. I don't think that's where you want to spend your money. Like if you're going to spend your money to go up, it would likely be for the Chelsea guys. Goretzka, YOLO GPP if he's in. Other guy to watch if in is Gnabry. 6,600 is really cheap. So we've seen Bayern do that wingback system where they've had Coman and Gnabry as the wingbacks. Like Sane plays as kind of like a number 10. Like there's like 2 10s, Moore and Sane behind Lewandowski. So that'll be interesting if they go that way. On the Villarreal side, Pereira takes almost all the sets. Danjuma, can grab one every once in a while. It's also, I'm still like never going to be shocked if he grabs some. He was such a taker for Spurs. But the 2 guys I'd focus on are Danjuma and Moreno. I think they're more GPP. I don't necessarily know you have to go anywhere in cash here. The only cash play is Parejo. And then fourth, he's a converted center back into right back. You're not going to get the traditional like crossing stats and things like that, but it's 2,700. He's wide positions, which gets a few extra opportunities at tackles, fouls drawn, things like that. Like that's a fine punt. I'm not gonna I wouldn't call anybody crazy for that one. And again, my Bayern's minus 175 here. If we look at the total, we're going to be hitting the right in between here, 2.5 and 3, so right about 3 for the goal total. That's going to be much higher than our second game, Chelsea versus Madrid. Chelsea's slight favorite plus 105. We look at the total under 2.5. I think it's just very, very worth noting that in the first leg versus PSG, right, Carlo Ancelotti just has Madrid just sit way back, like not even like conceding the ball, getting for very, very little encounters. Now, Karim Benzema was not healthy that game. he played but wasn't himself. But I do wonder, because that worked, because Real Madrid's just going through this spell, even in the league, that it's just not fully there, especially offensively. If he tries to just nick one here, like just not like go to the Bernabeu 0-0, I think Ancelotti and Real Madrid would be thrilled. And then we saw Chelsea in just absolute shambles this weekend versus Brentford. They're not exactly like impressing us. So let's just start with Chelsea. 2 options, I guess 3, 2.5. I think Mason Mount. You don't. Here's the weirdest thing about Chelsea sets, right? We always joke about this in FSI chat that all we know on Chelsea sets is that we're probably, or corners, that we're probably going to be wrong. Mason Mount should take a majority if he's in, likely a split with Reece James. We've seen more and more, but he just hasn't been playing. When Reece James is in, though, he's like always going to take a corner. So I think Reece James, if in, unless we see something about his fitness, 6,100, I think is the best defender on the slate. Mason Mount, the other, really strong play from Chelsea. He's going to be like an enigma for me, just because he almost always produces, right? Mason Mount, like when you play him, just one of those guys that seems to get there. But it's a tough matchup, and you're kind of conceding a strong Bayern piece for him and a low total, and like with concern of set pieces. I almost hope that Ziyech is in. I almost hope like Reece James, Mason Mount, and Ziyech is in, just so I go, oh my God, these sets are just a mess. I almost just want to avoid them all. I almost think that I like prefer that. But 2 favorite pieces, James Mount. The other half play, Marcos Alonso, especially if it's back 3. He's much better as a back 3 than he is a back 4. Definitely very attacking. He has not been taking sets at all, so we can kind of cross that off. But is a decent attacker nonetheless. But again, I'd be Reece James over him. Kai, Christian Pulisic, those are GPP only. Any of these Chelsea goal scorers to me are GPP only, just because they've been struggling so much. Mendy, is fine. I just got 4 goals versus Brentford. It's really hard to go back there, right? So it's Chelsea. On the Madrid side, everybody's underpriced. I think the second big point, I guess it's the third, right? Because I said Lewandowski is the first point. Second point is, do you play another Bayern forward? Which, the more I even like talk out loud, I think that's going to be the popular route. But I think the other big decision point here is Toni Kroos, 5,400. Never see Toni Kroos that low. But even if you look back in league play, he's kind of warranted that price. He wasn't healthy for a while. Seems like he's getting back to fitness. Toni Kroos used to be that guy that just, it would only be like 2 crosses or 3 crosses, one shot, and you look down, it's like 12 points, 13 points. You're like, how the hell, how'd that happen? So I think he's finding cash. Here's the thing, though. He's splitting. Sorry for my son. You're going to hear him singing the rest of this video, and there is shit I can do about it. So just enjoy the background music. But he split sets with Asensio now. So it's not as like dominant as when he was on Monopoly. But again, Toni Kroos, we have a long history of Toni Kroos, knowing that he produces. So I think cash is fine. I think GPP, he's fade. Asensio is fine. Benzema Jr. GPP, in my opinion. Ferland Mendy, 3,000 for fullback from Madrid. That almost seems like a mistake. So, he's pretty much going to be super chalk. Danny Carvajal, sub 4,000. He's fine. Modric, is not a guy that I'm going to probably target here. Like, he's a really good player, but, when Asensio and Kroos is in, he doesn't have any set piece responsibility. Then I think Thibaut Courtois could easily be the chalk hole tender on the slate. Revenge game. Chelsea, I never know, like, how much revenge there is, right, when you get the move you want. But, still like some press against this other team. Buddy's over here, so it's probably calling that this is about it. So prelim core, Lewandowski, Kimmich. Trying to decide the last one. Probably Ferland Mendy, just because the price, 3K, is just way too cheap. Then, we're making decisions on the Sanes, Comans. I think that's probably Sane, Coman, that's more, fourth decision point there. All right, that'll do it for me. Hope you all do well. Again, if you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, comment. I'll say, see you.